And now, it's The Law Show on CL 650. A comprehensive look at everything you need to know about the law.
Hey, it is The Law Show. I'm Zach Spencer. It's great for you to be here. We're talking about family law. The breakdown of relationships can be difficult and confusing, and often it revolves around money. And this show today, we're going to talk a little bit about pensions because, when you break up when you're younger, you don't think about the future, but it's obviously something you have to consider. Joining us today, we have David Halkett, partner at McQuarrieHunter, along with Sarah Morse, associate at McQuarrieHunter. Welcome to you both. Great to have you here. Now, McQuarrieHunter is in the state-of-the-art, fancy Surrey Central building, right?
It is, right above SFU.
And I understand you have a good view.
I do. I have a great view right out to the airport.
So you can see the weather coming.
Exactly. I know what your weather's like, and it's be with us in about 2 hours.
All right. That's interesting. And why that location? I mean, is it central for you're not far from the city, you're not far from the valley, or in the valley?
Well, we used to have an office in New West and then 2 in Surrey, and finding space in Surrey was not the easiest. So we decided as a partnership that we would all get together and not have 3 offices anymore and have 1. And this floor opened up in Central City, and it's been great for us ever since we moved in there in December of 2010.
And do people come from all over the Lower Mainland, Sarah?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's one of the best parts about our location is that it's accessible by SkyTrain, and you get a lot of the commuter traffic. It's close to the Tri-Cities, South Surrey, Burnaby, New Westminster. So
transit.
Yeah, it's transit friendly. There's lots of parking because it is attached to a shopping center. So I think it's really accessible, which is a big plus, I think, for a lot of people. If they're taking time out of their day, they don't want to spend 20 minutes looking for parking. So
lunch can get expensive if it's over top of a shopping center.
Yeah. There's only so many Subway sandwiches I can eat.
Yeah, very true.
Stuff, right?
All right. So what is it about your firm that you think is unique? Do you have an angle at McQuarrieHunter that makes unique in this family law situation?
Well, what's different with us is a lot of family law lawyers, they work on their own in what they call small boutique firms. We're a full-service firm, other than we don't do criminal and some tax issues. So we have the benefit of, when it comes to valuing businesses or dealing with complex transactions regarding the business on a divorce, that we can use our corporate department. We don't have to farm out the sale of the home. We can do it in-house. And then we have other litigation, like there's one case Sarah and I had where we had to ask one of the litigation partners in commercial about one aspect of it that was coming up in our case that we haven't had to deal with because it's not normally a family law case, family law matter. So we have the breadth of knowledge, and it's been a firm that's been around as McQuarrieHunter since 1967, and with precursors all dating back to the 30s. So we have a lot of history and a lot of great legal minds that work there.
Can it be a little bit can it be a cost advantage to having all of these bodies under one roof?
It is, for sure. Because we can just we can pick up the phone or pop an email to one of our colleagues at the north end where these solicitors are and ask them about a certain issue, and we don't have to worry about picking up and calling someone else and using them as an agent, etc.
Yeah, because I would imagine a lot of assets are easy to value, basically a house or RSPs. But when it's a business, you own a restaurant together or something like that. How do you value that?
Well, there are business valuators out there. Usually they're with accounting firms, and we can use them, and they give a valuation of what they think the fair market value is of the business. Where our north end solicitors can come in hand is how to transfer it, and if there's certain transactions have to occur to transfer the shares and save tax and stuff, they know how to do it, and we can get their assistance.
All right. Now, pensions are not a sexy topic, but they're kind of essential because, Sarah, wouldn't you think that, say it's a husband and wife and they're in their mid-40s and they're not thinking about when they turn 65. They're thinking about the here and the now and the kids in the house and school and homework and sports activities and all that kind of stuff, but they're not thinking about when they turn 65. But it's very important.
Absolutely, and I think that definitely is the case, and it's really important to identify that with your clients because when you do have younger clients, they're not thinking that far off, and it can sometimes be a very valuable asset. I mean, we've got municipal pension plan, pensions, all sorts of valuable pensions, and if you don't even look at that being an asset, that could be a huge issue down the road. I mean, it could be worth a lot of money, and people need to turn their minds to it.
Do people think about it when they're coming in, say, in their mid-40s?
Well, they know they have a pension, but they have no idea how much it's really worth because it's something for the future. It's not like an RSP where you get a statement that says, here's what your RSP is. Your pension can be, I've contributed X dollars, but if you have a matching pension, especially in the government pensions, which are usually defined benefit, you don't know what it's going to be worth. And you don't get it for 20 or 30 years down the road. So it's a huge asset that's there that's, either an income stream or to offset other assets. But people don't always consider it.
So how do you value it?
Well, we have actuaries that do the valuation. There's two types. There's the defined benefit, which is most government pensions. So you pay in X dollars each paycheck, and at the end, based on a formula that the pension company has or the pension administrator has in your union contract, you will get X dollars based on usually the best 5 years of your income, a percentage. Then there's defined contribution, which are basically group RSPs for the most part. That it's based on what you contribute. But when it comes to the defined benefit plan, you can use an actuary to determine what the actual value is of the pension. My rule of thumb is, for most government pensions, whatever your contribution is, multiply it by 3 or 4, and it gives you a rough idea of what the value is, because it's an income stream down the road.
Because some of it is just a check that you get every month, but sometimes it's benefits.
Yeah.
And as you get older, those benefits can be worth a lot of money because, medications can be thousands of dollars a month. So when you divorce, you don't have access to those benefits anymore.
That's
right.
Correct.
But you have to be able to value what that could be worth.
Yeah. Well, the administrator bases all that or the actuary on what when they determine what the actual pension value is. The benefits are usually something that you have to pay a little bit extra as a union member later on. But for sure, those are important benefits down the road, and they can also be an issue of spousal support if that one is getting an extra, say, $500 a month for medical, and you're not. There's a cost issue there for sure.
Okay, now we have different jurisdictions, right? So you've got somebody that is maybe a municipal worker, and they work in Surrey or Vancouver or Richmond or whatever, and then you've got somebody that works at the airport. And they work and they're under federal jurisdiction, or they work for a bank, and that's federally regulated. So how does it change for you when you're coming to deal with this stuff?
Well, the first thing is determining where, obviously, if it's what they call a local plan, which is a BC plan, or if it is a federal plan. The division of the most provincial plans are under our Family Law Act, so that's pretty straightforward. The federal act goes under usually the Pension Benefit Standards Act, or sometimes there's the Air Canada Pension Act, etc. And
they have their own act?
They do, yeah. They often have their own pension plan and everything. So you have to determine what actually, if it's a local or if it's what they call extra provincial, or which is usually the federal, and you simply go by the rules of that. Usually the division process is the same through the administrative office, but you do have to determine which law applies.
All right.
Sure.
And so when you have, Sarah, somebody come in and, as I said, they're not near retirement age, what do you say to them? And are people willing to let that go in a negotiation for separation and divorce, or is it something as a sticking point?
Well, it depends on whose pension it is, but that's definitely something, as David mentioned, when we're first meeting with a client and we are asking about their assets, that is definitely one of the key things we ask, is whether there is a pension, whether the other party has a pension, and potentially how long they've been contributing to it. And as well, there's a financial statement that has to be done if you're going to go to court anyways. So that information would all be set out. It can be a potential negotiation tool. You could play that off against something else. Someone keeps the house and someone keeps their pension, or the pension goes to the other party. So there's lots of things you can do with that because it's an asset. So it's potentially very valuable in terms of how you're going to settle all the assets and come to a final resolution.
Can the pension still be a living thing in the relationship? Like, can you get divorced, sell the house, split the RSPs, do all of that kind of stuff, but you're still linked with the pension? Can that still be a relationship No?
Well, usually when you divide the pension, assuming it's been divided, both parties become, assuming they fill out the right documents and we tell them what they have to fill out, they become limited members of the pension themselves. So, in effect, the administrator hives off your share. So it's based on a certain formula, which we can discuss in a bit, but if I'm entitled to, say, 25% of, if Sarah had a pension, I was entitled to 25% of it, I become, in effect, a limited member for my 25%, and I have my own pension, and I get paid later on. And she would get her portion, and then I get my portion.
So they kind of split it.
Exactly.
Yep.
So it's now that 25 is legally yours,
Exactly.
and it's a separate entity. It's not like the payment comes out and 25%'s got to go into your bank account.
No.
It's a separate
They
deal.
divide it at source.
Okay. So that makes it easier.
Exactly. Now, you pay for them to do that. You when you divide the pension, there's usually a quote-unquote administrative fee of about $750 that they take to plug the stuff into the computer and do it.
All right. Now you have CPP and all of these other things. Are you entitled to somebody's old age security at all in the future?
I've never had a case where someone's made a claim for that, because usually both parties have it, and often it's the same amount, and it's just income. Now, a military pension is different. That's just like your normal pension. Canada pension plan's divided, but your old age pension is just something you get paid as a benefit for being 65.
And everybody gets that.
Exactly.
It's not much.
Yeah. No. My mom tells me that all the time. Yeah.
All right. So when someone comes in, is it something they want to hold on to more? Do you find that in gender, like men are willing to do that, let these things go, or women are not, or how does it work?
At the risk of sounding sexist, I do find that women tend to want to keep their pension. It's a security for the future for their income. My male clients tend to acknowledge they want to keep their pension too, but they know they got to divide it. Whereas the female clients will do what they can to keep it. The problem when someone keeps their pension, though, is they got to buy out and they become cash poor. They may, the other party may have an asset that they don't have an asset anymore, except something they're going to get down the road. So if they're in their 40s and they say, I want to keep my old pension, and the non-owning spouse says, okay, that's fine, I'll pay you less out of the house, so you can keep my share of the pension. In the end, you may not have enough to buy something
on your own. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you've kind of limited yourself as to what you can do with your asset down the road.
And cash flow, as we all know, is vital, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The one thing is our law does not require someone to agree to be bought out. If you say, no, I don't agree to be bought out of your pension, the court will not force you. They'll just divide it as per the act. So if one spouse says, I want to keep my pension, unless the other party agrees, it's going to be divided.
All right, we're talking about pensions, the breakdown of relationships, and how it can be difficult and confusing, and what you need to be aware of when you heading into this situation. We're talking family law with David Halkett, partner at McQuarrieHunter, and Sarah Morse from McQuarrieHunter, and we'll pick it up next right here on CL 650.
There's more of the show still ahead. This is The Law Show on CL 650.